Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Arvindaya. Om Anandamayi. Om Chaitanyamayi. Om Satyamayi. Om Paramayi. O my beloved Lord, let us be thine integrally. O Lord, with full faith, love, and surrender, we are ready for thy victory. Om, peace, peace, peace. Peace to the mind, peace to the vital, peace to the physical, peace to the emotions, peace to the people all around the world. Prayers and Meditations, May 15th, 1914. As on reaching a summit, one discovers a vast horizon, so, O Lord, when one's consciousness is identified with that intermediate domain between thy unity and manifested world, one participates both in thy infinitude and in the realization of the world. It is as though one were at a center where the consciousness, wholly steeped in thy effective power, could direct the ray of thy forces upon the lowly instrument moving among its brother instruments. From the height of these transcendent regions, the unity of physical substance is clearly visible, and yet the body, which serves as a particular instrument in the material field, seems specially precise and distinct, like a stronger point amidst this whole, at once multiple and one, in which the forces circulate evenly. This perception has not left me since yesterday. It has settled in as something definitive, and all the outer activity, which apparently continues as usual, has become mechanical, like a marvelously articulated and animated toy moved by the consciousness from the height of its seat, which, though no longer individual, is still universal, that is, which is not yet completely merged in thy oneness. All the laws of individual manifestation have become clear to me, but in so synthetical, so global, so simultaneous a way that it is impossible to express this in our ordinary language. Evening Talks with Sri Aurobindo, A.B. Purani, 10-12-1938. Disciple, Lele and realization, Sri Aurobindo. Of course, he had some, but as I said, he had ambition and ego. Disciple, it is said that Christ used to heal simply by a touch. Is it possible? Sri Aurobindo, why not? There are many instances of such cures. Of course, faith is necessary. Christ himself said, "Thy faith has made the whole." Disciple, is faith always necessary for such a cure? Sri Aurobindo, no. Cure can be done without faith, especially when one does not know what is being done. Faith is above the mind, so that any discussion or dispute spoils the action of the faith. Disciple, I knew also such instances of cure or help by faith when I came to see you first. You told me to remember you in my difficulties. As I returned, I did so, and I passed through all the difficulties. But as soon as I came here, I heard many things from sadhaks and did not get the same result. I thought perhaps I was not able to open myself to you. Sri Aurobindo, that is called simple faith, or as some call it, blind faith. When Ramakrishna was asked about faith, he said, "All faith is blind, otherwise there is no faith." He was quite right. Disciple, I knew also such instances of cure or help by faith. When I came to see you first, you told me to remember you in my difficulties. As I returned, I did so, and I passed through all the difficulties. But as soon as I came here, I heard many things from sadhaks and did not get the same result. Sri Aurobindo, that is called simple faith, or as some call it, blind faith. When Ramakrishna was asked about faith, he said, "All faith is blind, otherwise there is no faith." He was quite right. Disciple, is it because there is something in the nature of environmental influence that doubt come and one does not get the same result as before? Sri Aurobindo, both the physical mind has these things, doubt, etc., and they come up at one time or the other. And by contact with other people also, faith gets obscured. I knew a shocking instance in the ashram. A truthful man came here. A sadhak told him that speaking of truth always is a superstition. One must be free to say what one likes. And then there is another instance of a sadhak who said that sex indulgence is no hindrance to yoga. It can be allowed, and everyone must have his Shakti. When such ideas are prevalent, no wonder that they cast bad influence on others. Disciple, such people ought to be quarantined. Sri Aurobindo, I thought of that, but it is not possible. Mother at one time tried to impose some restrictions and regulations, but it did not work. One has to change from within. There are, of course, other yogic systems which have strict regulations. Buddhism is unique in that respect. There is a school in France which enjoins strict silence. Disciple, is such exterior imposition good? Sri Aurobindo, it can be good provided one sincerely keeps to it. For instance, in that school in France, people who enter there know what they want and so keep to the regulation that are meant to help them in achieving their aim. The world has to change. People here are epitomes of the world. Each one represents a type of humanity, and if one type is conquered, that means a great victory for the work. And for this change, a constant will is required. If that is there, lots of things can be done for the sadhak as they were done. Disciple, things became sluggish afterwards. Sri Aurobindo, yes, it is when sadhana came down in the physical and the subconscious that things became very difficult. I myself had to struggle for 2 years, for the subconscious is absolutely inert like stone. Though my mind was quite awake, above it could not exert an influence down below. It is a Herculean labor, for when one enters there, it is sort of an unexplored continent. Previous yogis came down to the vital. If I had been made to see it before, probably I would have been less enthusiastic about it. That is the instance of blind faith. The ancients were quite right, perhaps, in leaving the physical, but if I had left it there, the real work would have remained undone. And once it is conquered, it becomes easy for people who come after me, which is what is meant by realization of one in all. Disciple, then we can wait for that victory. Sri Aurobindo, you want an easy path, disciple. Not only easy, but like a baby we want to be carried about. Is it possible? Sri Aurobindo. Yes, but one has to be a baby and a genuine baby. Disciple. Ramakrishna has said a yogi need not be always like a drawn sword. Sri Aurobindo. When did he say that and what did he mean by that? A yogi has always to be vigilant, especially in the early part of one's sadhana. Otherwise, all one has gained can come down like a thud. People here usually don't make sadhana the one part of their life. They have two parts. One, the eternal, internal, and other external, which goes on with ordinary movements, social contacts, etc. Sadhana must be made that one part of the wheel. Life Divine by Sri Aurobindo. The Gnostic Being, page 1011. The supramental being in his cosmic consciousness, seeing and feeling all as himself, would act in that sense. He would act in a universal awareness and a harmony of his individual self with the total self, of his individual will with the total will, of his individual action with the total action. For what we most suffer from in our outer life and its reactions upon our inner life is the imperfection of our relations with the world. our ignorance of others, our disharmony with the whole of things, our inability to equate our demand on the world with the world's demand on us. There is a conflict from which there seems to be no ultimate issue except an escape from both world and self, between our self affirmation and a world on which we have to impose that affirmation. A world which seems to be too large for us and to pass indifferently over our soul, mind, life, body in the sweep of its course to its goal. The relation of our course and goal to the world's unapparent to us, and to harmonize ourselves with it, we have either to enforce ourselves upon it and make it subservient to us, or suppress ourselves and become subservient to it, or else to compass a difficult balance between these two necessities of the relation between individual personal destiny and the cosmic whole and its hidden purpose. But for the supramental being, living in a cosmic consciousness, the difficulty would not exist. Since he has no ego, his cosmic individuality would know the cosmic force and the movement and their significance as part of himself. And the truth consciousness in him would see the right relation at each step and find the dynamic right expression of that relation. Talks by Nirodbaran at Sri Aurobindo International Center of Education, page 4. Some asked how I dared to stand in front of him for darshan. Didn't I tremble before him? They couldn't even look straight at him. So grave and austere were his face and countenance, without a smile. But I forgot everything when I bowed at his feet, and he seemed to be so gracious that I forgot that I had taken so much liberty with him. Why tremble when he had never even used a harsh word? When had he not forgiven me? What tenderness, indulgence, encouragement, sympathy, what divine patience, and above all, what sun like humor to raise and encourage the man of sorrows in me. At times when I stumbled psychologically, he encouraged, shake off the dust, go on the way. He has rescued me from the slough of despondency with his encouragement and sweetness. He tried to widen my narrow medico material outlook on things so that ultimately he succeeded in turning my outlook into an inlook. Intellectually, I can say that I've gained a lot. Whatever knowledge of philosophy or science I have gained is limited to this book. I know that there's only not only science but super science too. How I fought with him and against homeopathy especially, but now I can assert and confirm its value. Now, while my medical colleagues do not believe in homeopathy, I fully believe in it. And how I fought with him when he gave his own example to prove that something which I thought were impossible to change were indeed quite possible to be transformed. He said, I will keep on beating you and bantering you till you believe. There is a kindness that can crush. His unaccountable kindness and divine largesse have crushed me and have made me his eternal servant, however unworthy. And all this to what purpose? I do not know why he was so generous. I was quite an average human being. Why then rain upon me such a cascade of benevolence? Was it due to previous karma? That can never be. I could have never done so much. I needed to have either been an impertinent sinner like Jagai Madai or an advanced yogi in prospect. But I was neither. That much common sense God had given me. Why then, I used to ask myself, pour so much unlimited bounty on a very ordinary person like myself? Once I put him this question, and his cryptic reply was, find out yourself. Till today, I have tried to find, to search, discover, and seek, but without any result. I do not think that in this life or others to come, I will find an answer to this problem. Perhaps it is because of this, pointing to a quotation on the board which read, he who chooses the infinite has been chosen by the infinite. It is still a mystery, but its effect I can never forget. Whatever I am today and hope to be in others' lives, it is due to Him. Whatever happens in my life always reminds me of His grace and compassion and has made me for this life and for lives to come an eternal servant of the Lord. Prayer for peace, peace, peace upon all the earth. May all escape from the ordinary consciousness and be delivered from the attachment for material things. May they awake to the knowledge of thy divine presence, unite themselves with thy supreme consciousness, and taste the plenitude of peace that springs from it. Lord, thou art the sovereign master of our being. Thy law is our law, and with all our strength we aspire to identify our consciousness with thy eternal consciousness, that we may accomplish thy sublime work in each thing and at every moment. Lord, deliver us from all care for contingencies. Deliver us from the ordinary outlook on things. Grant that we may henceforth see only with thy eyes and act only by thy will. Transform us into living torches of thy divine love. With reverence, with devotion, in a joyful consecration of my whole being, I give myself, O Lord, to the fulfillment of thy law. Peace, peace upon all the earth. Divine Mother, we raised our prayer from the soil of Aurobindo, and the people who are connected in this collective collaboration are surrendered to thy feet. Thank you, Mother. Peace be to all. Thanks for being with us.